15 years, blowing the doors off the competition. Podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
Connecting to server. Connection confirmed. Connecting to website. Connection confirmed. Adjusting lights to preset level. Adjusting sound. Adjusting volume. Recording.
Real movies for real people. T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema 2021.
The world is changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is now lost, for none who live who remember it.
What are you doing?
What?
Are we suddenly getting visited by the ghost of Galadriel? What is going on?
I was just trying to inject a little gravitas into us coming back.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Well, it's actually accurate, isn't it?
Can I take this outfit off now?
I didn't say you had to put it on, did I?
This wig is killing me.
Welcome to Subject Cinema 2021. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
It is our first full episode of Subject Cinema since last April.
Dang long time.
And it is our first sub-episode since January 1st. We never did get the cheesy show off the ground. We decided to wait. It is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021, episode number 651.
Wow.
And headed toward this June, where we will celebrate our 15th anniversary.
Woo.
Even though we've been off the air for most of the last year.
Yeah, well, you know. I mean,
so yeah, I can't even talk. That's how excited I am.
How y'all doing? Sorry. And all apologies also to Kate Blanchett for my incredibly crappy impersonation of her.
I thought you were fine.
I tried my best. So we, in all seriousness, we do hope that everybody out there is coping with this past year's insanity okay.
For those of you who may have lost loved ones or people you care about, you have our deepest sympathy. Mm-hmm. We've been very lucky on our end.
Yeah, for those of you who might have gotten sick with COVID or actually anything else, because there were other things going on out there. We hope that you know it. Yeah, I know. We hope you've recovered and you're doing better right now. And we hope everybody's in a good place right now, and we're just gonna
heading there, because there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
we've both had our first COVID-19 vaccine injections, and second ones are coming up in the next few weeks.
And we still mask up and stuff when we leave the house.
I won't stop doing that for 6 months to a year, because I just don't trust anything.
But we just hope everybody's safe. We miss you all. We miss going to the movies. We had another
movies. What's a movie?
Yeah, on top of all of the other stuff that tends.
Don't mind the noise upstairs. We have new upstairs neighbors, and they're worse than our other ones. Go ahead. Well, they are noise-wise.
Right now, anyway. we wound up having to say goodbye to our local theater, not only because of...
Yeah, Showcase closed.
Yeah.
Showcase Revere closed December 20th.
Yeah.
Because Amazon has purchased the property for yet another warehouse.
Yeah.
It'll be the second one in Revere and the third one north of Boston.
Yeah.
I don't know why we needed it.
I don't either,
It'll
but...
be open by the end of the year, they said, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it means the closest theater to us now is AMC Assembly.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, it's about the same distance to Assembly as it would be into town to the ArcLight at North Station.
Or up to Danvers, I
No,
suppose.
Danvers is twice as far.
Well, yeah.
Danvers is almost 20 miles. That's only 10 that way.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay. But yeah,
it's insane.
Obviously because the, the theater industry took a huge hit and a half with the whole issues with COVID. And,
yeah.
I mean, up till that point, I thought Showcase was doing pretty great, but apparently...
Showcase reopened in September and was doing some, modest, socially distanced business, but they were doing fine. It was just the fact that the mayor and his cronies sold us out, so... There you go.
Yeah.
Full story on that is over at eCinemaBoston.com if you want to take a look at it.
Pour one out for Showcase Cinemas Revere. It was a pretty cool place. We saw some great films there. Dude, no, not cool.
Why?
That's, because, anyway. We saw some really great films there. We had a lot of great fun there. We saw some terrible films there too. Sometimes on purpose, but
the cinema was only 20 years old and they've revamped it 3 times already. So
yeah.
But, we're not going to be going back to cinema anytime soon. But there's more big blockbusters now happening online. Mm-hmm. We're able to watch some of those. We're going to go back and catch up some of those. We're going to do some classics. We are determined to get back into the regular swing of things.
Yes, we are.
This special show on Wednesday will give way to our regular programming, which will return on April 4th. Which is a Sunday, our normal time slot, and we will hopefully be back weekly, cross your fingers, after that point, with more new films, old films, classic films, bad films, cheesy films, a little bit of everything, plus film news. And
also anything you'd like to suggest. If you have a movie out there that you've seen that you want other people to know about and you'd like us to review it or whatever, even if it's your movie, write to us and let us know and, give us a heads up to where to find it.
Yep, Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com, and we'd love to hear about your COVID experiences with movies also.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will hear from some of you in the next few weeks. Subject Cinema number 651, we are looking at an unprecedented event in movie history.
Mm-hmm. A do-over.
The start of the outcry happened in 2019.
Yeah.
When the fans of DC Comics started using the hashtag release the Snyder Cut on Twitter and Facebook. It caught on. All of the stars were using it. A number of other people were using it. And finally, last year...
After denying that it existed...
Well, it didn't exist except in rough form. They had to finish it up.
But at least something existed. They acted like we were all asking for footage of the Loch Ness Monster or something. So something
people
completely.
Saying Kevin Smith said he saw it. The cast said they saw it. Everybody said they saw it. And so, with the advent of HBO Max last fall, it was announced that Zack Snyder's Justice League, as it's called, would hit HBO on March 18th, HBO Max, on March 18th. Do you realize there have been 4 major streamers that have started since we stopped doing this show?
Wow.
That's crazy. We'll talk about those eventually, too. HBO Max premiered it last Thursday. It has been going through the roof. The critics are in love with it.
Yep.
Particularly Owen Gleiberman at Variety, who gave the theatrical cut a D. And he called this film the best superhero film of all time.
I think that's going a little overboard.
I'm not so sure. It's certainly up there with the Endgame and Infinity War movies.
I have my own issues with blah, blah, blah is the greatest blah, blah, blah of all time. You know that.
Anyway, so what we're going to do is try to go over the differences between 2018's theatrical release Justice League, which was Ghost directed by Joss Whedon, and the Snyder Cut, which came out last week. It is 4 hours long, and it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't.
It flew by. We didn't even notice it.
No, not really.
I was checking the time a couple of times, just like, oh my God, we're already 2.5 hours in.
Yeah,
when we
looked at what time it was like, what the what?
It goes by really fast for those of you who are big fans of DC stuff.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the lady that runs Warner Brothers had an interview with Variety today. She said, this is the end of the Zack Snyder trilogy. They won't be doing any more with him. They're going to continue with their plans to do these offshoot movies. They're not going to release a David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, which everybody is now asking for. So it's still the fans versus Warner Brothers is still going on, because now the hashtag is restore the Snyder universe. So it's kind of nuts. Warner Brothers just won't back down, even when they're wrong, and they've been shown up to be wrong, and the critics love them.
Yeah.
Owen Gleiberman challenged them yesterday on Variety to allow a sequel, which I thought was interesting.
And now there's talk about Justice League Black and White.
Well, there's a talk about that. Zack Snyder has always planned to release a black and white cut of it, and it will be on HBO sometime this summer. I don't know whether it's going to be the same movie, just the color stripped down, or if he's re-editing that one too. We'll see.
I'm sorry, at the risk of being a Debbie Downer, I really don't understand the point of that,
because
but that's just my own take
the
on
idea
it.
has been done before. They did it with Logan. There was Logan Noir that came out later. They've done it with several other films, superhero films.
They did it with Sin City. And that was released.
Was made in black.
That was released in black and white.
But they've done it with several other alternate cuts, so we'll see what happens. Any case, I don't know if we actually discussed it on the show, because we haven't been doing reviews for a while. But the Justice League film that came out in 2018 was met with a colossal disappointment of most fans, although we enjoyed it up to a point. You enjoyed it more than I did. I thought that there was too much humor, and a little bit, I felt they were going too Avengers-y, because Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, which is a lot better than anybody says it is, were both more dark, and I liked that. It was a contrast to the Avengers films, which were fine, the way they are. But, I don't know. I mean, this one is darker. If you saw the first one, you got to see the second one, because the story is completely upended in several places.
Yeah.
And more characters appear. We get to see more of James Gordon, played by J.K. Simmons. We get to see alternate stuff that wasn't used in the Joss Whedon version.
Right. More about Cyborg's background.
A lot more on Cyborg's background. A lot more on Flash's background.
And more about the actual, what happened way back in the day. Way back in the day. Maybe he had like 15 more ways on there. The first time the main antagonist, the secondary antagonist,
we get a lot more background on the mother
Earth.
boxes and what happened back then.
Yeah.
So,
back then. Way back then.
The cast, in case you're not aware of it, Henry Cavill and his mustache as Superman / Clark Kent. Ben Affleck as Batman. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Ezra Miller as Flash.
Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Ray Fisher as Cyborg were the primaries, plus Syrian Hines as Steppenwolf, and appearances from Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and a number of other people that were not in the original cut, plus a few that were. So, can you give us a basic rundown in like 3 minutes of what they're trying to do, what the story's about? Not detailed.
Justice League is basically picking up where Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice left off. The climactic battle in that film with Doomsday resulting in the death of Superman. The world is still in mourning over the death of Superman. But the world doesn't realize that there's some other really nasty stuff that's coming that's actually worse than Doomsday. And some people might go, well, what the hell could be worse than some alien that killed Superman? there's worse.
There's worse.
There's always worse. Meet worse. Worse is in the form of Steppenwolf, who is the vanguard of an invading force from another dimension, which is a place that you do not want to visit, which is actually never referred to as Apocalypse. Did they say Apocalypse?
Once, yes.
Once, okay. Ruled by Darkseid, possibly the only person who is a bigger badass than Thanos. And the whole thing of it is that there are these mother boxes that have been on Earth for thousands of years, which are tech from Apocalypse.
They basically work the same way as the world builder that General Zod had.
Yeah.
In Man of Steel.
Kind of.
So if you saw that, it's sort of
and
a similar thing.
they're a sentient. They're semi-sentient. Would that be accurate?
They're reactive sentient.
Yeah, they're reactive sentient cybernetic organisms, I suppose. One of them at the climactic battle way long ago, where men, Amazons, Atlanteans, gods, everything short of kaiju showed up to beat back Steppenwolf and the parademons of Apocalypse. And yes, that sounds as bad as it sounds. You know, they're just that scary. They beat them back, barely. And Darkseid as well at that time, way back in the day. And, actually, I don't think Steppenwolf was involved in that battle, but,
no, I don't think he was either.
But, these boxes have been shut away all this time. Steppenwolf has come to Earth to find them because he's trying to get back in Darkseid's good graces and make it possible for Darkseid to come to Earth. And screw taking over the Earth. Darkseid wants to destroy the Earth. Darkseid is all about death and destruction and stuff like that. One of these boxes was given to the Atlanteans, one of them was given to the Amazons, and one of them was given to the humans. So the problem is, by the midpoint of the film, Steppenwolf has 2 out of the 3 of the boxes. And Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman, is trying to put together a team of metahumans, super beings, other superpowered folks, to try and combat Steppenwolf's plans, which ends up in the resurrection of Superman.
If he was really dead.
If he was really dead.
We don't really know because there was that whole little dirt flying thing at the very last scene of Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
But then, of course, there's the simple fact that if he wasn't dead, he was pretty close to dead. And when people come back from that, you have to wonder if they come back okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been more than a few cases of people coming back wrong. And I'm sorry, at the very high list of people that you don't want to come back wrong, I think somebody who is pretty damn near invulnerable that she can shoot lasers out of their eyes is probably very high on the list of people that you don't want to have come back wrong. I think that's being fair, don't you?
It is.
So you've got these very diverse people that are not all like, yes, we'll join up and fight together. It doesn't start out, people aren't nobody's joining hands and singing Kumbaya except one member of the group besides Bruce, and that's Barry Allen, aka the Flash. Although, I mean, Wonder Woman does sign on pretty quickly, but Barry's like, yes. I mean, I don't think Bruce asks the question like all the way. He's just like, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, Barry tends to like just kind of jump over people because he's, the fastest man alive and all that. There's a whole bunch of jokes.
I wasn't going to say anything, so let's just leave it there.
There's a whole bunch of jokes I wanted to make at the time, but I wasn't going to because A, it's Lent, and B, he's a big fan of the Flash, so I didn't want to
I don't mind.
I didn't want to have a Pepsi bottle chucked at my head.
I don't mind.
He wouldn't really do that.
The biggest change in the film, other than the length,
yeah,
is adding a lot of backstory where it was needed, where they Warner sliced it like crazy.
Yeah.
And getting rid of a lot of the overly unnecessary humor from the first one. Because while some of it was good, most of it involving Flash, although he's still very funny, we still get most of the good stuff here. There were a number of scenes that were cut from this from the Snyder cut that were, we missed.
Yeah.
The race at the end, what we missed.
The race at the end,
the end of the film is completely different than the first release, and there's a lot of stuff that they've changed on it. One of the biggest changes about the entire film, we're assuming, by the way, that you've seen this. It's been on for a week, so if you're here listening, spoiler alert, we're going to give stuff away. One of the biggest things was the Joss Whedon version of it. There was a great deal of time in the middle third spent on debating whether or not to revive Superman. Wonder Woman was dead set against it.
Yeah.
In the Snyder cut, not only is she not dead set against it, she's all for it.
Yeah.
The only person who was worried about resurrecting him is Aquaman.
Yeah.
Which is completely different from the original. Well,
it's like it's jumping to another film that added footage really changes everything. Look at what happened with Fellowship of the Ring, the whole part in Lothlorien, where if you see the regular theater cut, it's all the whole thing where the elves are like Haldir's like, you can't go back. And all that stuff like that. In the extended version, he's all basically like, get out.
Yeah.
But that's completely different.
It is. It changes a lot of the stuff. And a lot of stuff was changed here, and it was for the better, according to the critics.
One thing I like...
A good number, not all of the critics. I mean, there are those who shall remain nameless, the playlist, who continues to be constantly slamming on DC no matter what they do. This one surprised me because several major critics, including the aforementioned Owen Gleiberman, who I normally have absolutely nothing in common with, as far as liking movies, have gone out, over the top cheerleader for this film, and how much better it is than the Joss cut was.
Right.
What did you think of the differences? Did the differences set you off, or did they... I miss one particular scene. We both miss one particular scene from the theatrical cut that did not get included in this, which we talked about before. Okay.
There were some... I like you, I didn't really have a problem with it. Well, my whole thing is, I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that if a movie's like 6 hours long or whatever, I
could care less about the length.
If it has a good story, I don't care.
I don't know whether I could sit through, I've forgotten the gentleman's name, the Polish director's 7-hour, what was the name of that film? I actually rented it once. I never did sat down to watch it. I don't think I could do that, but something I'm very familiar with.
Something I'm invested in.
They could add another 5 hours to Infinity War and I'd sit there and watch it. It's like no problem.
Yep. If we as in you and me could sit there and watch all of the extended version of the Lord of the Rings trilogy at the theater, which we did.
We did.
And go through that whole Marvel gauntlet that we did, which wasn't even...
We didn't go through the Marvel gauntlet, we went through the Captain America gauntlet. There was a difference. Okay. That was for Civil War's release. There was a full Marvel gauntlet before Infinity War came out.
Which we really kind of wanted to do.
Well, it would have killed us. But we barely got through the Captain America one.
But jobs. So, and it was like, employment, adult life, blah. But my point is, if a movie is if a movie is long and the reason it's long is to get in more character, more motivation, more universe building, give me a big thing of popcorn, give me bathroom breaks and a bottle of soda, and I am one little happy Sagittarius.
We only took one bathroom break for this, and it wasn't until after more than 3 hours had gone by.
Yeah.
So that was something.
The thing that I liked was the fact that we got more with... I don't want to say smaller characters because that sounds rude, but
supporting characters.
You had more with Commissioner Gordon,
Little bit more, yeah.
You had more with Alfred, which, oh my gosh, I loved that. Jeremy Irons was so terrific as Alfred. I was like, yes, more lines. More
I love his very sarcastic Alfred, which is the best I've ever seen.
He is wicked snarky and so awesome at it. Absolutely love it. I liked the stuff at the beginning that was, all of the huge battle from back in the day with the Amazons and that
really wasn't extended that much. There was quite a bit of that in the first one, but they did add different details to it.
They added different detail, like adding in the Greek gods, adding in the extraterrestrial help.
The lanterns were there. If you didn't know that, they said that in the original. So
they said it. This time we saw. Well,
no, they showed it last time too.
Yeah, but I don't remember that scene.
No, not the one they showed. This it was a different scene.
There is a little more blood in this. So if you get squicked out, sorry. But I mean, it's not like a Friday the 13th movie or something like that. But
there's a reason why the Snyder cut is rated R.
Yeah.
The theatrical version was PG-13. The Snyder cut is rated R for more violence, more blood, and several uses of the F-bomb.
Yes.
So, yeah.
No nudity, but anyway.
Well, you get enough nudity from Aquaman. So, I mean, it's not as much as you'd like to see from Jungle Boy every week on AEW.
Guilty. But,
I know. Anyway.
Truth. Anyway. I just thought it was for one thing that I really, really liked, because it completely hit me upside the head, and I almost asked you to rewind it, because I was like, what just happened? Is the very end of the film with the meeting on the boat.
We did rewind it. You needed me to see it, so I rewound it a little bit.
I was like...
It's the same meeting that happened on the other one.
I know, but it's the wording and what happened... They did redo
the dialogue, yeah.
Yeah, what got said was just like, wait, what? It was really like, okay, that took the story in a completely different
And if Warner Brothers has their way, we won't get to see what happens.
No, I know.
So remember... Restore the Snyder Universe # for those of you who love it.
Yeah.
The biggest improvement on this film for me was the incredibly detailed backstory we got from Victor Stone and Barry Allen. We got quite a bit more about why Barry is the way he is, why he's chosen to go off on whatever. It is the same basic elemental story that's done on the TV series with Grant Gustin, but it is it's done slightly different than it is in the TV series. And the backstory of Victor Stone is so much more fleshed out.
Yeah.
I understand why Ray Fisher had a really hard time when the Joss cut came out, because it cut him down to like little tiny part, and he's the most integral part of the film. We also saw a lot more of his father.
Yeah, we saw a lot more of his father.
What's his name? Is it Silas Stone?
I think so, yeah.
Not sure. Yeah.
You got so much into the backstory of the character, and it was really... I thought it was really, really beautiful, simply because of the fact that you had... Yeah, you were right. It was Silas, Dr. Silas Stone,
remember the first name.
Played by Joe Morton, and he was awesome.
He's always awesome.
You have a character like Cyborg. A lot of what goes on, especially with the more modern iteration of DC superheroes, is dealing with the idea of self, of what makes you you. Mm-hmm. You have Superman, who is this very different Superman than the Superman that we've been used to in film, especially in film, where all the other iterations of Superman beforehand, they've always seemed very confident in who they were, in what they could do, and why they were here. Mm-hmm. And Henry Cavill's Superman lacks that. And I'm not saying that's a flaw. I just think that that's a really interesting way to take that kind of a character of knowing that he's surrounded by humans, he lives as a human, but he knows he's not a human, you know? And then you have a character like Victor, who was on the, you know, who was a human that was on the fast track, obviously, to a promising sports career and everything like that. Then there's this terrible accident that winds up, you know, killing his mom. He almost dies. His father uses the mother box to save him.
Because it turns out that the world of men have had it in storage at Star Labs for decades and decades.
Because they found it from the super obviously, like I said, the Atlanteans had a mother box. They put it at the bottom of the ocean. The Amazons had one of the mother boxes, and they put it in this big temple kind of thing to keep it safe. The world of men had a mother box. They dug a hole and stuck it in the box.
But see, at the time that the battle happened, that was the best that the world of men had to offer.
Hello, pyramids. Obviously, they had people from all over the world in that battle that they had. They had people...
Hello, pyramid. Could you ask for any more attention getter?
Well, I'm just saying...
Yeah, if you have a pyramid, that's the first thing you're going to look at. It's going to be the first thing you see. You're not going to see underground. You're going to see this big thing. No, I'm sorry. I don't buy the pyramid thing at all. Sorry. It wouldn't work.
But... So anyway, eventually humans had found the mother box, and the government found the mother box, and, you know, put it in like a big, you know, storage thing, probably with the Ark of the Covenant, like Indy found and all that. But now you have Victor, who has got a second chance at life, but he's so changed. But the thing is, he has to try and find the humanity still inside of him. And he has to deal with the fact that he's so not the person that he remembers being, but at the same time, part of him still is that person.
Yeah, and a good part of it is still him.
Yeah.
He just doesn't recognize it yet.
Well, he views it all as a curse and all this stuff like that. And for Wonder Woman's trying to make him see how it's an amazing gift. And it is a gift, but... You know, even something that's a gift doesn't automatically make you be like, okay, I'm going to shuck like 90% of my humanity so that I can phase into everything, you know, with computers and all that, you know, kind of jazz.
Yeah.
I think one other thing that I thought was real, and you brought this up as well, during the film that we both were like, wow, that's a huge improvement, is the character of Steppenwolf.
Huge.
Not only physically, I feel like they really, really stepped it up with the character, with his physical appearance, especially with his armor. The way that the armor had that kind of... it was almost like the armor was alive.
Yeah.
And it was...
I loved that. That was very cool.
The rippling scales of the armor, which I thought was really cool. There was also his motivations...
was changed slightly, because in the first film they didn't even mention Darkseid. It was cut out.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf was here as a herald, but we never found out who for. I mean, everybody who knew Steppenwolf knew it was Darkseid, but they didn't bring it up. They didn't feel like, because I think they knew, oh, we're just going to get this out there. We're not going to worry about a sequel. You know, screw them. Let's just get this going.
Yeah.
So, but you know, that can still happen now.
The fact that in this film you had the whole thing with him being talked down to by Desaad, who is another one of Darkseid's, you know, minions, kind of this toady, kind of crawly minister kind of character.
Very much the Grima Wormtongue of the Justice League movie.
Yeah, very much. That Steppenwolf, that you had the whole backstory that Steppenwolf had failed Darkseid previously and was now trying to make up for his failure, and that's why he was so fixated on finding the mother boxes and bringing Darkseid to Earth, and also finding this thing called the anti-life equation.
I was just going to say, there was no mention whatsoever of the anti-life equation in the theatrical version.
Yeah.
This is something that's gone on in DC Comics for decades.
For those of you who don't know what that is, go look it up. Don't blame me if you pee your pants. But, because I'm sorry, the concept is scary as hell. It really is.
It is, yeah.
And I really like that we got that he had a purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a purpose in...
Sort of.
He had a purpose in the other film.
It wasn't this purpose.
But it wasn't this purpose. His purpose was, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
In this film, it's, I'm a bad guy, but I have an actual reason why I'm being a bad guy. And I thought that was really important. And I thought that made a huge difference.
It did.
In adding to a deeper layer of menace with the character. And I thought that was super important.
That's true. Some of the other changes that came about is we lost a lot of the humor, like I said, from the original film. There's this kind of underlying comic rivalry between Flash and Cyborg in several scenes in the original film. Those are out the window.
Yeah.
They redid, one of the ones they redid it in this film. There is a hilarious scene where Aquaman is having true confessions because he's sitting on Diana's lasso without realizing it. That went out the window. There's this whole thing with this Russian family, and the conclusion of the film, that was another Joss creation. It went out the window.
Yeah.
Instead, we saw this the way Snyder envisioned it, and ultimately, it was 50 times better.
Yeah. Because the whole end of the film takes place in basically a Chernobyl.
It's in the Chernobyl area.
Yeah.
And they don't say it. It's whatever qualifies on Earth 1 as Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So, because we don't have, it's still and we gotta remember, this is DC, we don't have real cities, we have Central City, Star City,
and
Metropolis, and all that stuff.
I'm sorry, you'll relate to this, and other people out there who are of a certain age will relate to this. I won't say who. But is it kind of depressing, and does it kind of make you want to be like, well, I want to lock myself in the bathroom with a bottle of vodka and cry? To know that for some people, when they saw all of that stuff, with Chernobyl, obviously supposed to be Chernobyl.
Right.
Some of us are sitting there going, oh yeah. It's like, oh, I remember that. I remember when all that happened. And other people are going, what's all that about?
And what? Some of us are going, I remember when all that happened almost 40 years ago.
Yeah. It's like, yep.
Yikes.
So, yep. Some of us were in grammar school going, yep, we're all gonna die. Guess who that was? You totally can't see me, but I'm totally raising my hand. I was a depressed little child.
It was interesting in the fact that the central story of the theatrical release was the resurrection of Superman. That's kind of actually a subplot here. The central story is Cyborg and his awakening and what he is and how he is involved with the mother boxes. And it changes the feel of the story so much, and it is for the better, without question. As I said earlier when we started this, we did like the theatrical version. It was a good film. It wasn't
fun.
Nearly as bad as the critics said. It wasn't nearly as bad as the fanboys said. It was still good. We also liked Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. We have not seen the extended version of that, although Anthony Lamberti, my buddy and former host of several podcasts here on the PNRNetworks family, loved the longer one. He wasn't that crazy about the short one. This one, if we were giving ratings to it, it would get a 5-star rating from me. I really enjoyed this film.
I'd give it a 4.5.
I miss those scenes, but they made up for it with the new backstories that we got. We got to see the one thing we did not get to see anywhere but the trailer for the original film was Barry saving Iris West, which is how he's introduced. And that scene is hilarious. Ezra Miller is just brilliant as a comedic actor. Anyway, he's terrific at drama too, but he's great when he does physical comedy. And this was very physical, and it was funny as hell, and most of his stuff was really good.
Yeah. But he's also I think the thing about Barry is that he's one of these people that he puts on a very good front of always being lighthearted and stuff like that.
Right.
But when you have the scene with the first time, not the second, when he's seeing his dad in jail, and you can tell this is killing him.
Yeah.
Because he knows his dad is innocent.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard for him, and he's trying to put on a good face in front of his dad. It's that whole, that song "Smile Even Though Your Heart Is Breaking."
Right.
That, and that made me feel more like, oh, I want to hug you. Come here. I want to hug you so hard.
I don't think we actually mentioned it before because we haven't been on that much, but I think what really gave people the first clue that this was going to happen. I mean, they had announced it, that it was like, had leaked that, they're going to let Snyder finish his film. The first real indication we had of that was at the end of the television universe's Crisis on Infinite Earths, over a year, about a year ago, yeah. When Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin were face to face as the Flash.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Because they have always told us, Warner Brothers has always said the television and film universes are going to be kept completely separate from each other. And then they decided to do this and people were freaking out because it didn't leak. Ezra showed up there and people were freaking out.
Yeah.
It was an almost 2-minute long scene. It was freaking hilarious. And if you didn't see it, go back and find it because it's in the Crisis, at the very end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths episodes.
A couple of other things that I want to bring up about this film.
Yep.
That I was completely like, okay, wow.
Okay.
For one thing, something that you just mentioned was that one of the scenes with Darkseid where they mentioned and they used the word multiverse, and I was like, whoa, okay, we're gonna go there.
I think they planned on that because of the TV universe, because I mean, DC has, I think, 10 now with today's announcement that Zatanna is getting a film from the director of Promising Young Woman, which is a huge hit right now. I think they have 10 DC Comics films currently in production or in pre-production or in post-production. And so it makes sense that they mentioned the multiverse in the Snyder version because they've already said the Robert Pattinson Batman is not part of the Justice League universe, which is not part of the Joker universe. They're all part of the DC multiverse.
But we do know that Suicide Squad was part of that universe.
Squad and Justice League exist in the same portion of the multiverse.
Right.
And Man of Steel and Wonder Woman. Those are all that, and the Flash movie.
And Aquaman.
Aquaman, and the upcoming Flash movie, which is coming out next year at the end of the year.
Where does that put the Shazam movie?
Shazam is part of the Justice League universe in some ways, but they've also tried to keep it a little bit separate. It's obvious that Superman is in existence there, but we noticed that it wasn't Henry Cavill playing him. In the very end. If you haven't seen Shazam, sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it. But it's 2 years old, you should have seen it.
If you haven't seen Shazam, why the hell not? Go see it.
Yeah, it's a way better film than I thought it would be.
The other thing that I was like, what the what? Was the inclusion of, and I'm sorry, I had no idea, I won't say who, I had no idea that a certain character was going to be in this film.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I was like,
I knew they were doing something with an introduction. And originally it had been planned to be Green Lantern, but they couldn't work out the schedule because Zack wanted Ryan Reynolds to do it again. And they couldn't work it out schedule-wise because he's working on Deadpool 2 or whatever, whenever we were filming. So they went a different direction. And it's well done, but the one part where it first happens completely changes a scene that was also in the original film. Completely upends it. It's like the Lothlorien thing in Lord of the Rings. Completely gives it a new meaning. So I think that's
the thing is, I got to be honest, when that first started, when that character leaves the room and is out in the corridor, and their eyes changed. At first, I'm not going to go any further. I'm not going to go any further. I panicked. I was like, oh crap, and then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And we see that character again
and
at
I had
the
to
end
say,
of the film.
She's like, what just happened? And I had to tell her, blah, blah. And she's like, what?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Huh?
I said I had heard that was going to happen in the movie, but I didn't know where it was going to happen. So it was interesting.
There are a lot of really nice little Easter eggs in this film.
Yeah, there's tons of them.
That's why it's really cool. That's why it's really cool to be able to watch it at home. Because in the theater, you can't stand up and turn around and go, "Hi, could you rewind the movie a little bit, please?" They're not going to do that. They will frown upon you. We do live in a society.
Rewinding the movie is frowned upon in this establishment.
And we do live in a society, and they will kick your butt out.
I don't particularly like doing it either, but it's better than listening to her whine all night. Anyway.
Thank you.
I'm kidding. She doesn't really do that.
That time I actually shrieked. I was like, rewind that, because I was like, Did I rewind it there too? I did, didn't I? Yeah, because you didn't believe me.
What?
You were like, about the
I saw it.
Okay.
I told you what it was, and then you said rewind it.
Yeah. And isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but it's a shame it's not going to go anywhere. Anyway, or so Warner Brothers is saying now.
Well,
we'll see. We'll see.
The funny thing is, Warner Brothers can say it's not going to go anywhere, and it may not go anywhere on the big screen, but that's why God invented fanfic.
They have actually got plans in the DC universe to do what Marvel is doing with Disney Plus now. So there's actually talk of that may be what they end up doing with the Flash thing. So rather than the theatrical, would be a miniseries on HBO Max
of Flashpoint.
Yeah. So we'll see.
That would be interesting.
I don't know what they're going to do. Well, they're not sure. We still don't know if Flashpoint is definitely involved. They make it clear that it is, but that could be complete misdirection because that's what everybody thinks. Warner Brothers is good at misdirection, and usually it works out for not in their favor. So we'll leave it at that. But it's there
was one. The only reason that I give the movie a 4.5. There's a couple of reasons I give it a 4.5. I liked the race scene. I wish they'd left
They
the
cut
race,
out the post-credit race
in.
scene between Flash and Superman. It was really fun.
Yeah, I liked that scene. I thought it was cute. And also...
It wouldn't have worked at the end of this film because Barry is not the same person at the end of this film that he was at the end of the other
but
one.
He's still such a fanboy for Superman that I think it would have worked.
He is, but I don't know. Well, it didn't... I don't think it necessarily would have worked that way.
Oh.
Plus that scene was shot in the other costume.
Yeah.
Superman isn't wearing his traditional costume in this movie.
No, I know, and I don't. I mean, I don't know.
He's been wearing it in the comics. So.
I know, but he's been wearing that in the comics since he got killed by Doomsday back in wherever.
Right.
But
he's also been wearing
19 whatever it was.
He's been wearing several outfits in the comics.
I know. Yes.
Another
please.
reason why this sequel.
Could we not bring up Superman Red and Superman Blue? Could we not do that?
Another reason why this may not get the sequel it deserves, and several critics are clamoring for now, is because there are already advanced pre-production plans for Justice League Dark from DC, which is going to be Batman, Robert Pattinson, I would assume, Zatanna,
John Constantine,
Swamp
Thing,
a number of other characters, and it's due for 2024.
It's all the spooky supernatural characters.
It's based on the graphic novels from that, so it'll be interesting. But I personally. I'm not really into that stuff.
I am.
I know you are, and I love Zatanna and I like Swamp Thing, but I really would rather see them continue what they've got at the end of this film. Mm-hmm. There's so much more to be done.
Well, like I said, that's why God made fanfic, so people can just
fanfic
go online.
Isn't official.
No, it's not, but
what Warner Brothers has planned isn't that great.
My other reason that I gave this a 4.5 is what I talked with you about this morning. The fact that we saw this over the weekend, and I've been thinking about it all weekend.
Afternoon, yeah.
I've been thinking about it all weekend and going, oh, wow, it was so great, and blah, 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 and Jason Momoa, and, blah, 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 and all that, and woman needs don't judge. And I was thinking about the end of the film.
Excuses. Anyway.
You say excuse. I say character development. The whole thing at the end when Barry goes to see his dad again in prison. Oops, sorry. That had me kind of. I was thinking about that this morning, and I was like,
Now, the reason why that works in this universe...
You get it. You know what I'm talking about.
I do get it. The comic book Flash, Barry Allen Flash, and also the Wally West Flash, got their powers by being splashed with a giant case of chemicals that was zapped by lightning during a storm.
And they got zapped by lightning.
Well, it was residual. It was a secondary strike.
Right.
In the Snyderverse, Flash apparently already has his abilities. He's a metahuman. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit different than what we normally see.
Yeah.
And the scene Kim is referring to, I don't think it gives away too much, is that he's getting the job that he should have had if he was the old Golden Age Barry Allen. Silver Age Barry Allen. He gets
the job that led him to becoming the Flash.
Right. And he's already the Flash.
It's like,
so it's a little bit...
What?
That's how the character is written now. It's been retconned so many times, it's scary.
Wibbly wobbly, tiny,
I mean, remember, Barry
stuff.
was dead in the comics for at least a decade.
Yes, but he got better.
Yeah, but he got better. So he died in Crisis on
there
Infinite
used to be an old saying that the only people that would stay dead in comics were Bucky Barnes and Jason Todd. And
guess what?
Well, that got blown straight to... Yeah, anyway. Moving on. So...
Overall, I think that this film is a must-see.
Oh, definitely.
If you're a DC fan and you have the time, you might want to just do comparison. Watch the 2018, then watch the 2020, or vice versa. See how the stories are, or 21, see how the stories are different from each other.
Yeah. You might want, I don't think you'd want to do that back to back, because that's like 6-7 hours.
One day and one another day,
make notes.
And you could even, the one thing that's different about this one is it's divided into chapters.
Which I really like.
Which you could stop at the end of, like, the mid-chapter, like chapter 4, and go forward. The next day if you had to. But I'm telling you, when you sit there and watch it, you won't even notice 4 hours go by.
Nope. Not at all.
We were already almost 3 hours into it when I first looked at the clock, and I'm like, oh my God, really? It doesn't seem like it should be that far in already.
No, I know.
But overall, I gave the original film, I would have given the original film 3.5, 3.75. I liked it, but it wasn't, there was things that bugged me. 5 stars, easily for this. It is terrific and one of the best films of the year right now.
Yeah.
And, I doubt that it'll be up for Oscars next year.
Oh, no.
Unlike all the streaming crap that's out there now.
Well, that and the fact that Oscars tends to look as far down their nose as they can at science fiction, fantasy, and horror,
Yeah, except when they're forced into it, like The Shape of Water.
Yeah. Or the final part of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah. Okay, so you would recommend it also?
Oh, I would totally recommend it. 2 thumbs way up, 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Toes up.
Yeah. 2 opposable thumbs from me.
Before we go off into the sunset, we've been gone for the most part for a year, except for an episode here and there. It isn't that we didn't want to; it's just that it's very difficult for us to find time to watch stuff. But, over the last few months with bigger films coming out on streaming now, I still would rather see them in the theater.
Oh, well, yeah.
But
so would I.
We can't. And Hollywood may be forever changed by this last year. I hope that theaters will bounce back and still make it. I think people are going to be desperate to go back once they open fully, once all the vaccines and stuff are out there and it's safe to do that later this year, hopefully. But we haven't been idle. We've been keeping busy. But we do have a few things that are going to be changing in the PNRNetworks universe. I'm going to be, folding Catastrophe Vortex when it comes back, probably in September, into the Subject Cinema feed. It's going to be part of this show. Subject Cinema presents Catastrophe Vortex. It's off the air for right now, and I will have a show up explaining that. We're also pulling down, if you've never listened to Mirrorball Mayhem and you want to have a chance to listen to it, you need to grab them before March 30th. They're going away. Because I'm taking both it and Catastrophe Vortex down to save money. We don't use them and they're not hit that much. So please go over and check those out. we're going to be focusing primarily on this show, the mini shows, which are 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and the new monthly Digidex Stream Month, which I'm doing all the streaming stuff on, plus Kim's Ring Around the Rosie. Are you going to retire Platinum Rose's Garden, or have you made up your mind definitely yet?
I haven't made up my mind for sure.
But Ring Around the Rosie will be back this weekend.
Yes, it will.
We're going to do... we're also going to be doing a brand new experiment. Probably... it probably won't start until late April or early May at the most. And we're not sure when. It'll probably be on a Saturday or a Sunday in the late afternoon or early evening. It is a live hour-long YouTube show called the Popcorn and Roses Hour. Mm-hmm. We are going to just be there chatting with our people who come to the chat and just talking about general stuff.
Yeah.
Movies and music, because I have a music channel now. If you haven't checked it out, go to YouTube, TKR Video Central. And Kim has a great role-playing channel called Platinum Rose Roleplay. Go over and check those out on YouTube. We're also going to be doing some more new stuff on YouTube in the next year. And we've got a bunch of things in the pipeline that will debut around the time we hit our 15th birthday.
We have some stuff on YouTube already that I think people should know about because they were really super cool. We have the first thing.
The two big ones, yeah.
The first thing we did was a piece that TC worked on all by himself.
I worked on it for months, and we got it together and got it up right on time.
Video work, which was crazy for it. It was it's Cloverfield.
10th anniversary of Cloverfield. It's a show called Manhattan Hammerdown as It Happened.
Yep.
It is the news coverage of what happened during that night. It isn't just about Rob and his friends. Mm-hmm. It's about the world and how they reacted to what was going on in New York. It's done as a radio play, and you can catch it at ManhattanHammerdown.com or on the Popcorn and Roses YouTube site. Yep. And the second year we did a tribute to War of the Worlds in 2018, which was the 70th anniversary of the original Orson Welles broadcast, and the 40th anniversary of the Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds, and the 50th or 60th anniversary of the one from New York, Buffalo, New York, which set off a panic. And we had a lot of fun with that too. And we did some gender flipping and did a lot of fun with it, and everybody was involved with that too. And so you can check both those out at on our YouTube page. And
TC did mention that I have my own channel that's just my stuff, called Platinum Rose Roleplay, which is I am a voice actress and an actress when I can be, and the work that is done on that, there's some poetry work, there's some scene work that was written by me, acted by me, but the video stuff is all him.
There's not really that much video stuff. It's just like a background is all we do,
But it's out there if you'd like to take a look at it and send me some feedback. That would be super cool.
Yeah, Platinum Rose Roleplay on YouTube. And my video this year, while the pandemic was going on, I have been a record collector since I was in my preteens. Mm-hmm. And I haven't touched my collection for years. And I just got bit by the vinyl community on YouTube. And I have almost doubled my collection in the last year and have gotten back into it. I do videos and stuff regularly on my my music channel, which is TKR Video Central. It's connected directly to the KirkhamReport.com, my music website, and you can see my collection. We can hear me talk about music and hopefully do a lot more stuff. I have several things in the pipeline over there, including an interview series that I need to launch, but we're not finished setting up the new facilities yet. We are in the process and have been for almost a year now of redoing our office / studio, and it is going to get finished this weekend. It is going to get finished this weekend. I'm telling you, if it's not, to come kick my butt. We will have everything ready, and that will be...
But let us know you're coming so we can lay out some snacks.
Yes, and I'll throw in I'll make the potato roasty for everybody. They just had a recipe on Test Kitchen this last weekend, and we can have make a day of it.
Oh, good! You can use your puking kitty gravy bowl.
Boat. It's puking kitty gravy boat. She got it for my birthday, along with a sadness doll and some mountain bars that I haven't had for 40 years. Anyway, we've got all these other things going on, and we'll put some stuff in the notes.
Yep.
We'll
if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can do that as well. I'm PlatinumRoselle at Twitter.com.
I am eCinemaOne at Twitter. Also, eCinemaBoston and TKR Video Central, but I'm usually on eCinemaOne because I tweet a lot there. And now, thanks to her, I'm back wicked into wrestling again. So I've been doing well
over here.
It's your fault. I got out of wrestling for 7 years, 8 years.
She who must not be named.
Yeah.
Just when you thought you got out, I pulled you back in.
Yeah, exactly. But, like I said, I enjoy being back into it, even if I'm miserable all the time. Anyway, we hope you will be back with us. We will be back as a weekly show a week from this Sunday. If you're listening to this when we post it on Wednesday. On April 4th, we will be back with Godzilla vs. Kong. And we will be talking about the history of that, the entire trilogy, and more, plus odds and ends. And we hope to be able to read your letters of what you've been doing during COVID, Subject Cinema, at PNRNetworks.com. I think let's get out of here.
I think we ought to get out.
Until next time, we're happy to be back. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
TTFN, and may 2020 be a better year for 2021. I just screwed it up there. May 2021 be a better year than 2020.
Amen.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema is copyright 2020 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
15 years. Blowing the doors off the competition. Podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com.